Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome to Open Resources, your home for food news. Today, we have the latest development regarding honeybees and Japan and the environment.
The hills are alive with the sound of...
For more than a few years now, we've been having a worldwide discussion about the alarming decline of the honeybee population. A seemingly insignificant creature known for its honey-making ability, the honeybee is said to be the chief pollination delivery device for nearly all the food grown around the world. The disappearances of bees have been argued to be a natural phenomenon simply related to new pathogens and a spike in parasitic infections in the bee populations. Others are linking the bee decline to the introduction of Monsanto's genetically modified seeds into the world's food supply. These seeds have built-in pesticides and herbicides made from chemicals known to have toxic effects on living things big and small. Like that broccoli you just ate that was manufactured with Roundup, built inside the genetic structure of the plant to keep the weeds away. Didn't give it a thought, did you? Yeah, and we certainly don't think much about how bees may be affected either. While some scientists are theorizing that the bees are dying from viruses and parasitic infections that they would ordinarily be able to fend off, others are suspicious about this being the sole cause of death explanation. As significant as this theory may be, it doesn't necessarily rule out GMO seeds being the reason. The consequences for the nation's food supply could be catastrophic over time, and though many of us have heard about this phenomenon in some way or another, most of us have no clue how we can help or if anyone is doing anything to fix the problem. So, what's being done? Well, the European Union recently placed a 2-year ban on pesticides explicitly because they believe that food sprayed with pesticides and herbicides, or that are genetically modified to have these toxic chemicals in its molecular structure, is causing the mass extinction of bees. This means EU countries will have to be more diligent with only a few months left to exhaust their chemical weapons against Mother Nature before the ban takes full effect. Getting other nations to follow suit is a tough thing, especially here in the United States, where the agri-farming chemical industry is king. But every effort is worth the struggle. Chemical-free food would not only be beneficial for bees, but we humans as well. Others, like researchers at Washington State University, are thinking outside the box. A team of researchers there has recently opened a sperm bank for bees, essentially believing that the bee gene pool needed to be more diversified. They are working to collect bee semen from bees all around the world. With the purpose of crossbreeding bees, their hope is that they can enable the bees to be more resistant to the viruses and parasites plaguing colonies. And finally, we go from the newly created sex industry for bees to a peeping Tom project known as open source beehives. Open source beehives is using an online data collection platform and an innovative hive design for what they call intelligent beehives that can monitor the health of a colony and track its development. Staying true to their name, the designs are of course open source and they are freely available for download. The hives involve using an open source sensory kit the NSA would probably love to put in each and every one of our homes. These kits collect data on the private lives of the bee colony, which is then studied and analyzed to address the issues facing bee colony health. The project claims that it will be able to aggregate the data from hive sources to better track the health of colonies and the global population of bees. With the decline of bees worldwide increasing and with no end in sight, any effort to save the bees is a good effort. In other and likely related news, Japan has recently reneged on its commitment to reducing greenhouse gases. Citing concerns after the massive earthquake that rocked Japan and critically damaged the nuclear power plant at Fukushima, Japan announced that it will not meet its goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 25% compared to 1990 levels, and instead they project a 3% increase by 2020 based on the same 1990 levels. Japan has relied heavily on its nuclear energy program to cut emissions of greenhouse gases, but now that building power plants capable of becoming nuclear bombs on fault lines could be seen as misguided, Japan is seeing a steady increase in fossil fuel usage. Japan is already in the top 5 of global polluters, and their announcement comes during the climate change meeting in Warsaw, where 190 nations have gathered to discuss replacing the Kyoto Protocol, which expired in December of 2012. Keep in mind that the world was recently witness to the devastation in the Philippines many claim is a direct result of climate change. The typhoon was said to be the largest and most powerful typhoon to ever hit land. The Philippine negotiator to the Warsaw Conference encouraged the world to end the madness just before pledging to not eat while his countrymen and women were starving. For some, the devastating impact of climate change is already realized, and moving away from the tipping point may be too late. The World Meteorological Organization's annual report revealed greenhouse gas levels in 2012 at an all-time high, and with Japan's energy consumption expected to add to those levels, we may have to get used to radical changes in our climate for some time to come. Changes that, sadly, may also come with tragedy. Let's hope those gals and guys in Warsaw don't screw it up like those effers did in Kyoto. Till we meet again, my name is Oskar Castro, and this is Open Resources, keeping it green since 2013.